So today we got a dead air compressor. We'll strip what we can off it. Basically the electrical cords, copper piping, and electric motor, brass fittings. See what else we can get off it. Basic starting tools of 3/8 wrench, dikes. So we'll start tearing apart. Okay, so I got it torn apart now for separating the motor and brass pieces and stuff from the steel tank, plastic parts. So majority plastic is the housings, steel. So electric motor, some copper tubing, brass fittings. You got your pressure regulators. Sometimes those get broken off on some of the other compressors, so that you might end up just keeping and putting in the archives. These are cool. These are just push-in air fittings. Add those to the little tool rack we got there. So it's a cool little come up. Still brass. I'm throwing in the brass bin to melt, whatever. Brass little pressure blow-off valves for the water, blow the water out and stuff in the tanks. Those are brass. There's the shut off. This gets broken off, so you might want to end up actually saving this whole thing here. Just put that in archives. You deal with a lot of compressors and stuff for construction. So copper wire, a little bit of metal, steel. So that's basically tearing down the air compressor for what we're gonna try to get some value out of. So all right, hold on for the next one. Okay, so I'm back and basically got rid of all the scrap steel, throwing it out back. And go in the scrap steel pile. So like I showed before, I was going to keep the air chuck fittings. They're old ones, they'll probably end up leaking, but they work good for that tool, the tool rack. Just put them up in a piece of metal and hang the tools upside down. So good little shot right there. There's one there. Sorry, one there, one there. So as you see, I got to swap them out to the ones, so those will be nice. So scrap copper, scrap wire. I'm not going to keep the pressure valves. They'll just be in the recycle bin, so if something does happen, maybe I'll know where they're at later. But the electric motor here. So what I did was I already pulled this one. Luckily with the compressor, these longer bolts are gonna screw into that housing. Sometimes there's like a I don't know, 3/8 nut on the other side. These are 5/16. I use a 5/16 driver. So got those already all unscrewed, ready to be pulled apart. So got that. And what I do is I got the DeWalt nut driver. Basically show you really quick. It should be basically capacitor. So I'm gonna try something else here. Okay, so we got the 1/4-inch bolts off that the covers cast. These are basically the capacitors, starting capacitors. So what I try to do is try to short them out, jump across each other. It's an old engine or old motor. It's been dead for a long time, so I doubt there's any power left in there. So then we swap over. Trying to do this single-handedly. 7/16 nut driver. Go figure. Basically just take these apart as much to steel as you can. I'm just trying to get as much of the front of this off as possible. Okay. So basically we've got it somewhat, the side housings or whatnot, in housings are taken apart. So now what do I do is I'll take a cold chisel. Bear with me with doing this single-handedly with the hammer, so I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Alright, so I'm going to try to hit it with the phone in my hand, so bear with me guys before I hit the phone. Okay, so basically just trying to separate that. I've already cut the shaft with the, I use a bandsaw, so I had a fan on it. Basically I separate this one, so, basically the rod arm piston to the pump. Separate that because that's aluminum, so the rest of once the housing's off, then I'll just cut the other balancer off. So I'll hammer this thing off, and then the other way to do what I do is just I've got the 2 bolts on the back side already taken off, so just gonna give that a good whack. See how that's separated from that? Same thing with that. Pop that up the arbor out. So, all right, I'm gonna get that rod off and then get the shaft and separate it from the housing there, and I'll show you the insides. Okay, so here we are with the final one. Here's basically what we have from tearing down that air compressor. The air compressor basically that gave us a little bit more of the housing. Gave us a piston, a little cylinder for the piston, some brass and copper fittings, the aluminum housing here. So that's basically what we got from the compressor. One extra part for the archive, a couple extra parts for the shop. So that was kind of a cool score. But the windings here in this electric motor here, what I basically do is I just leave those in there for right now. Cut the strings out. I take a pry bar and I just pry on the, what I do is I pry on the first row of the windings here. I'll try and show you real quick. So before I go too much, so you just kind of get in there and pry with the pry bar like so. I got the camera in my hand, so it's not gonna do too good. You need better leverage, but so you just cut those out, pry on those, open these up, cut those with the cutters, and then I flip this over. Flip it over after cutting all those, get them all straight stranded, and then I use a pry bar, and then I just pry them all out at the same time. So that's basically how I remove that. Okay, what I forgot to share with you guys was that not all these are copper wiring windings. So we got the other parts, but I'll show you here. It looks, copper windings inside, but just scratch some of these wires really quick here. And you see here, see the silver. So basically those are aluminum, copper coated aluminum windings. So not really what we're looking for at this point. So we'll have to set that aside and deal with that later. So just I'll make sure that you don't add your aluminum to your copper pile. So all right, bye.